Autograss is a sport that not many people are too familiar with. It's been around since the 1960s but hasn't enjoyed the high profile that other motorsports receive. But that could be about to change as the sport continues to grow, and with so many TV channels popping up in Britain and Europe alone, it must surely only be a matter of time before it makes its way onto a television screen near you. The sport is a form of amateur motor racing, usually around tracks of around 400 metres in length on grass or dirt surfaces. There are several classes, and the sport is open to all comers, young and old. One of the people promoting the sport is Russ Thompson, and I met up with him at a meeting in Scunthorpe back in the summer to get a taste of the sport and find out more about it.
Well, they really do say it is the motorsport's best kept secret, but it actually has the biggest membership, I think, out of any motorsport going. There's around 3,000 races across the breadth of the UK. They race every weekend from March up until around November. It's an action-packed season with various clubs throughout the sports. There's around 50 of them with around 30 locations as well to race at. Drivers from everywhere really, and it's one of the unique sports where father, mother and child can actually race the same car at the same event.
Motorsport in general, a very expensive sport. I suppose if you're looking for an entry level, this is the one.
This is the perfect entry level motorsport going, because there is actually a class out there to suit your funding and your requirements. So if you are wanting to just get into it for the first time, you don't have to spend tens of thousands on a race car. You can get something very modest, cheap and cheerful to go racing in, and but they're all competitive in their own way as well. So no matter which category you do choose, you'll find yourself involved in some great racing.
And I've spoken to quite a few competitors. They hooked, absolutely hooked, once they get started.
Definitely, it's the same with anything. If you find a passion, it'll never leave you. And motorsport is obviously a big thing for a lot of people. But grassroots level, there's nothing better than this.
And it's all adrenaline. It's all about power and fuel and plenty of action for the spectator.
Yeah, it's definitely. Obviously, you can see the crowds here this weekend. That's what they enjoy. It's what they love. Obviously, we've got the perfect weather to give some exciting racing. And there's going to be some excellent close racing coming later on today for sure.
Tell us about Grasschat then. That's what you're involved in. It's like an umbrella for lots of things.
Well, Grasschat is something I set up around 6 years ago. I wanted to just share and express my passion for this sport that I've enjoyed for many years. Coming ever since I was a young child with my parents, and I just loved everything about it. I got to start racing when I was 12, and then when I grow up, and I'm unfortunately not in the car now, I focused on doing other things, and I just wanted to help promote and publicise the sport and all of the clubs that are out there, and hopefully it makes it more accessible for people who are not aware of it.
And there's tremendous potential for the sport, isn't there?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's been going, as I said, for over 50 years now in its form, and obviously the pre-evolutions before that. But yeah, the sport is strong still. I mean, obviously it's hard with the natural climate and economic climate of today. It does affect some people with their funding to go racing. But as you can see, when you've got over 400 competitors here this weekend racing, it shows how popular it really is.
And what about the future of the sport then?
I think the TV market is quite a heavy investment and a big competition to actually get in there. And the problem is, because we have so many events, I mean, they happen every single weekend for around 8 months of the year. I don't think the money would be there to do it. I think the best way at the moment, and what's actually best suited for our sport, is to use the social platforms that are readily available to anybody. So I do a lot on YouTube with my channel, and all I have to do is record a video and upload it. And it's as simple as that. You can live stream on it. There's so much scope out there for it, and I think that's the best way at the moment. We have had TV broadcasts in the past, but it's just been the rare occasion. So at the minute, I think we're in a good place with doing it on social platforms. It's easily accessible for not just the people providing the content, but also those who can watch it. And I just think that's the way forward at the minute.
Helen Blake is one of the leading ladies in the sport, taking part in the ladies' stock catch class.
Well, Helen, you're the defending champion of the UK Series 2022. This is Route 1 for today out of 5. How's it gone so far?
Very well. I've just been out in Heat 1 and I won it. So we'll see what Heat 2 brings. There's 2 heats today and tomorrow there'll be a heat in the final. And there are 11 ladies signed on, but only 7 have showed up. So we're all in the final, which is a bit less work to do, which is good. So, especially in this heat. This heat is quite tricky when you're wearing a whole race suit. So, just see how it goes, see how Heat 2 goes.
I was going to say, how hot does it get?
Really quite hot. I'm in a fireproof race suit and you have to wear socks and shoes. And the sun is literally relentless. So, yeah, very hot and sweaty and disgusting. And,
I mean, you came out of the blocks flying and you have to in this race. You have to get a good early start.
Yeah, you do. So I think, I don't know for sure, but my experience is if you get to the corner first, you're in good stead for winning the race. We're restricted in we've got 1.6 VTR engines, or other engines 1.6, and we don't have the beans that other classes have. So if you get to the corner first, you're all right, unless you can overtake someone who's made a mistake or something.
A lot of people are talking about, it's very expensive motorsport, which of course it is. But I suppose if you are wanting to get involved in motorsport, then this is probably a good starting point. Very
much so. This is it's grassroots racing. People come here not knowing what it is, and they think, oh wow, this is amazing, it's really well organised, which it is, but it is not circuit racing, and it's nowhere near the budget of any of that. It's grassroots racing, it's brilliant, and I'm in a budget class called stock catch, which makes it more affordable, but you can go into like class 7s, your 8s and 10s, you can just spend so much money on it. And you can go in whichever class you like. You don't move up through the ranks, you just choose a class. Like I started in class 6, and then I had a class 2 and a stock catch at the same time, and just chose to stick with a stock catch because I love it. And then when I started doing it all on my own, it was all about saving money, and stock catch is the best class for that, in my opinion. You got the most power for the smallest budget.
Autograss, it was new to me. Autograss would be new to a lot of people as well. When did you find out about it?
I found out about it in 2015, and I started racing in 2016, but only club meets. And then in 2017 I started going a bit further afield, and I only started doing it on my own in 2020 after all the restrictions had lifted from COVID. That's when I started doing it on my own. I got my own van in March, did my trailer licence, and then I started racing on my own as soon as the restrictions were lifted. So I've known about it since 2015, but been doing it on my own for 3 years.
So what brought you into this then? Because this is something which, I guess, knowing how enthusiastic you are about it, this is something you may have probably would have liked to have done 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, if I'd have known about it, but I didn't know about it. I did come and watch it years and years ago when I still lived in Leeds. I went up to YD, not knowing what it was, and I had a Vauxhall Corsa at the time, a little old-shaped Vauxhall Corsa, and I said to the person who brought me, I said, I want to do this so badly, this is amazing. It looks muddy, it looks fun, it looks rustic, it looks brilliant. Can I turn my road car into a race car? And then I spoke to someone, I didn't know who I was talking to. I said, how do you get into all this? And they said, you need a car, put a roll cage in it, strip it out, read the rule book, make sure you build it to the rules, and then come and join. So I spoke to someone who is a mechanic, or who was a mechanic, and they were keen, but then nothing really happened, nothing came of it, and I just stuck to biking because I was a big, massive biker at the time, and nothing happened. And then I moved up here, met someone who introduced me to the sport, and that's it. I think 7 or 8 years later, here I am, and absolutely loving it.
Now, it's not like stock racing at all. A lot of people can see the footage and think, oh, you know, everyone's banging into each other. In fact, this is the total opposite of that.
It is. This is a non-contact sport, believe it or not. I mean, looking at my car, you argue with that. But yeah, it is a non-contact sport, supposedly. Contact does happen because we're racing on a rough mud track. But yeah, non-contact, where a stock car and banger racing is full contact, and I just don't fancy that.
And what about under the bonnet? What's under the bonnet?
Under the bonnet, well, in my car is a complete stock VTR engine, 1.6 VTR out of a Citroen Saxo. I had a donor car. The engine from that just went in there. The head, as far as I'm aware, I think the head gets skimmed to a certain millimetre. That's in the rule book. Please don't ask me about that, I've got no idea. And it's pretty much stock. I know we have an air filter, which isn't stock. You're allowed a few tweaks, but it's got to be pretty much stock, as far as I'm aware. But under other people's bonnets, who knows?
And the fuel tank is actually at the front under the bonnet as well, but,
yes.
But it's tiny, isn't it?
It's a tiny fuel tank, enough for probably 2 races. I always fill up every race, which I'll have to do soon. And yeah, you just fill it up, go out, but you always make sure it's full just in case you have a rerun and you don't get time to go back to the pits. If you have a rerun, like if the race is red flagged, you might not have time to go back and refuel, so always fill it up and it'll do you for 2 races.
And the tyres, I'd imagine they're not cheap at all, and you get through quite a few of them.
You can do, yeah. The more obsessed people will say, or the more well prepared, I don't know. The people with money will buy new tyres, I don't know, every other race meet or something. I don't. I try and make mine last because I'm a Yorkshire lass and I don't like to spend money. So I change my tyres when somebody says, oh, you could do with changing those, they're a bit rough. I'm like, okay then. I can't remember how much they are. I think it's about 140 for a pair. I think, off the top of my head. I bought them a few weeks ago. Just had them put on today. So new rubber today for the UK Autograss Series round 1. And I don't think I'll be replacing them until somebody says you need to replace them.
But they certainly worked for you in the first heat, because I mean, you stormed out, you had a great start, and no one could catch you. So a fantastic opening for you today.
Yeah, I was very impressed. The car felt amazing. That's been looked at by my friend Phil Peake at Look Speed in Ripon. He, bless him, he said, oh, come along, you know, like before the UK, and I'll have a look at your car for you and just check that it's UK ready. So that's so kind, thank you so much. So Peaky, I owe you some beers, thank you. And the car felt amazing, the track felt amazing, lovely and smooth.
So what about the future then? I mean, you're already, as we know, the defending champion of the UK series at Autograss, so you've got off to a very good start this weekend for round 1. What happens beyond there? Where does your ambitions go?
I would love to win the Nationals this year. I was second in the Nationals last year. That is the main goal in everyone's racing career in Autograss, is to be the national champion. If I could be the Ladies Stock Hatch national champion, that would be amazing. I will try my best, but who knows? You just never know. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. It's just what happens on the day. So that's the aim. I'd very much like to be UK champion again, but I'm up against some fantastic ladies, some that I know, some that I've never met before. But coming from race 1, I've seen the footage, and you all race so well, and they're all amazing ladies. So who knows? Who knows what is around the corner? You know, one of us could get bashed up. It could be me. There are so many things, so many factors, you know, car failure, illness, there's so many factors, so it's anybody's race, it really is, and they're an amazing bunch of ladies.
And you mentioned that, you know, obviously there's good camaraderie there, and you get on very, very well, but surely this is a competitive sport that once you're on the track, it's a different ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah, once you're on the track, you've got your game head on. I do look to each side and put my thumbs up at everyone, you know, because they are my ladies, they are my girls. We're all in the same class, and we're all trying to promote ladies in motorsport because we're quite rare. But then, yeah, as soon as your goggles go on, you're staring at the bungee, and then that's it. You don't think about anything else. It's just, let's do this. Yeah,
but I'm going to push this further, because there's bound to be accidents sometimes, and someone has to be at fault. There will be a moment where you think, that was her fault.
Yes.
What happens then? What happens then? I'm dying to know.
I personally, if I think somebody else is at fault, I will sort of go quiet for a little bit, and I'll think about what happened. I'll think, well, was it my fault? Was it their fault? going shouting and screaming is not going to help anybody. More often than not, it was an accident. Nobody's going to have done it on purpose unless you're against someone who is like that, but I can't say I've ever come across that, luckily. Some people are really inexperienced, so they don't know the control yet. Some people are just hell for leather and out thinking about anything and might lose themselves in the moment. You just don't know. But if that happens, I will try and have a laugh and joke about it, because I don't like bad feeling, and especially in the pitch when you're racing with the same people all across the country. It's nice. It's nice to be part of a family, and you don't want bad feeling in a family. You try and sort it out and, you know, make friends and have a bit of a laugh and a joke about it instead. There is a funny thing between me and someone called Tiff who races with me. She's in the WS car, and we were always talking about swapping paint colours. She goes, I like that colour, I'm going to come and get it. So we do have a laugh and a joke before a race, and if contact happens in a race, like me and Tiff had a coming together at York last year, and we just laughed and joked about it. You know, I got black flag for stopping the race, and it hurts at the time, bad feeling at the time, but then you just let it slide and you think it's not worth falling out over. We're not racing for money, we're just racing for a trophy here, and that's it. So I'd much rather be friendly with everyone than have bad feeling.
If you attend an Autograss meeting, you certainly get plenty of thrills and spills. It's non-stop action and entertainment, and while health and safety is given the utmost importance, there's a very relaxed feel about meetings and a very friendly atmosphere. It's not difficult to see what the attraction is. Dozens of different races happening very quickly, and a lot of action. There are plenty of up-and-coming youngsters getting into the sport, and one of them is Alderton, who's very much on the rise. He's a fearless teenager who fell in love with the sport, and he has ambitions to make his way up the motor racing ladder to go as high as he can.
So I started when I was 12 years old in the junior special class, and I raced that for probably 4 years. And now I've made my debut in men's class 8 this year.
So why Autograss for you?
I just like the whole environment of the sport, like the social side and the racing side, and the racing's just like mega, like 8 cars into one corner at such high speeds. You know, the thrill and the buzz, just nothing else compares.
And let's talk about this first corner, because that's where all the action is, isn't it? And it can be good for you, it can be sometimes not so good.
Yeah, it's normally like the main decider in most races. You need a good start. It's just like being careful, but also being aggressive at the same time.
The first time you actually stepped into a car and did an Autograss, what did you feel like? Was it intimidating?
Yeah, it was quite intimidating at the time. I was one of the younger ones at the time. Obviously racing against people my age when you're 12 is quite daunting. And also driving a car for the first time at these speeds is also a bit, you know, nerve-wracking when you're that young. But once you've done a few meetings and like got more experience under your belt, you know, you get used to it. And I just like trying to show, you know, what I can do and just show my skills off. And you know, racing juniors is good when you're younger, and when you get older, it's a bit more, you know, when they're younger, it's just a bit more. The skill gap is it becomes more evident. But against the men, you know, it's a whole new challenge and it's a lot more fun. The good thing about Autograss is like you can fit it to like any budget. It depends how much money you want to like throw in it really. If you've not got a lot, you can go into a smaller entry class and still have just as much fun if you're in like the big class 8, class 7s, throw in 20, 30 grand at it. So it just works around your own budget, and then do it how you want to do it, you know.
You've got deep pockets, have you?
Not really. No, we're on a big budget really. But I like that. Then to show that we can compete with the top boys with a budget, it's just like good for us. It shows, you know, anything can be possible. You don't need money to be fast. I want to try and go into more professional stuff next year. That's our goal. But we'll definitely remain in Autograss at the same time. The love for Autograss will never go. You know, I can't just leave the sport entirely. Like, I love the sport too much.
Well, what if things go really, really well in Autograss, and then you're kind of looking at moving up to maybe rallying, or maybe it's the Formula 3s and then the Formula 1? I mean, I suppose every driver, that's got to be their ambition, I presume.
Yeah, I'm looking at maybe either Formula 4 for next year if we get the funding. Obviously, you need a lot of funding to do that.
A lot of sponsorship required.
Yeah, a lot of sponsorship required for that. So that will be probably a bit tough coming from Autograss. But rallycross is also one of my big interests, so I'd like to try and maybe go into like the more professional rallycross side as well. I've got some good contacts within that sport, so we'll just see what happens over the next few years.
And the more you do this, the more experience you get, the kind of braver you become, I suppose, as a driver.
Yeah, the more you do this, the less like the nerves go away, and just to me, just begin to accept, you know, that's racing. If stuff happens, you can't. Most of the time, it's out of your control. It's just part of it. So It's all about the racing, not worrying about other stuff.
Well, look, thanks for talking to us,
Thank
and
you.
best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
For many, Autograss may be a well-kept secret, but don't be surprised if this fast-growing sport is front and centre in the very near future.